So, recently I've seen some videos pop up on YouTube that claim to be meta weapons. Let's take a look and see if they are what they say they are. Itstizzle, you're up to bat. Let's see what you got.
In this video, I'm going to be bringing you the best primary legendary weapons in Destiny 2. So if you look at this list, you'll see a lot of these symbols are from Into the Light and beyond. So I made a comprehensive best legendary guide last March, and basically none of the primaries are on there other than like Zali's Bane and Nation of Beasts. Everything else is pretty much new, so I'm going to showcase what the new best legendary primary weapons are to chase. So I hope you enjoy, and yeah, leave a like and sub and all that if you do. So just to preface, I know some weapons can roll with these perk combinations, like Hung Jury with kinetic tremors. Patron of Lost Causes can also get kinetic tremors from episode echoes. So if you have a kinetic tremors scout rifle, that's great. The point is basically getting kinetic tremors. Same with Chattering Bone and Blast Furnace, they can both get kinetic tremors, where I prefer Chattering Bone's archetype because Blast Furnace to me feels clunky. So part of it is a feel thing, but this video is not to detail every weapon in the game and every perk. It's to talk about what I think are the best weapons and the most meta weapons in today's sandbox. Because
Alright, so I hope that he doesn't go into massive detail about every weapon. I hope he just says bang bang, bang bang bang, this is what you get. This is second best, but this is what it is. Because I've seen so many videos of this that are like, you can get this, or you could get that, or I prefer this, or I prefer that. No, there's meta weapons that people need to get, like, that are just straight out better than the other weapons. I hope he does that.
Because a lot has changed since last year. First, with Final Shape, we got Prismatic, and Prismatic encourages you to do darkness and light damage so that you can build up Transcendence. So this first one is perfect for that. It's Aisha's Care. It can also roll with Hatchling, which is actually the role I prefer, is Slice Hatchling, but Slice Golden Tricorn is very good as well. This is a new heavy burst 2-round burst pulse rifle. It shoots at 324 rounds per minute.
So it looks like he's also going into roles as well, not only that there are meta weapons, he's actually going into the role that makes it meta. That's great. Awesome so far.
So this was introduced after Final Shape, and these weapons are very, very strong. I believe they're some of the highest DPS dealing primaries in the game for legendaries.
So he said he believes that they are. The 2-burst pulse rifles are the highest bursting pulse rifle in the game for PvE. There's the Void and the Solar one as well. Oh, the Arc and the Solar, sorry.
So yeah, this thing is really good. Plus it's Strand, so it can help you build Darkness Transcendence, and with Slice, it can spawn Tangles. So it's just very, very good. Midnight Coup, I do have 3 options here because it's honestly just that good. I love Fatebringer. I love how it shoots, sounds, everything. But Midnight Coup, it's easier to get because you don't have to raid. You can just do Onslaught, OG Onslaught, and it's got some amazing rolls. So Explosive Payload 1 for all. This makes it hit like a legendary hand cannon. Firefly 1 for all gives it some AoE damage. Shoot to Loot Kinetic Tremors is an amazing utility perk and really good for champions with kinetic tremors. So yeah, any role you want to go for is great on Midnight Coup. Warden's Law with Vorpal Weapon. There's also a Trials weapon, which is Arc, that can roll with Vorpal. In this heavy burst 2-round burst hand cannon archetype. These pair really great with Lucky Pants, so I would definitely get one version if you can. Hung Jury, Shoot to Loot Kinetic Tremors, I just really like that roll.
With that Warden's Law, there is a role that you should be getting, which I believe is 4th times Vorpal. If you don't run 4th times, you can actually run Enlightened Action. but you must pair it with the appended mag to give you the exact amount of bullets that you need before the buff ends. I'm not too sure whether that's still a thing, but that was the other pairing with Warden's Law, because fourth times gave you more bullets than you needed for the buff to end. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm pretty sure it's still a thing.
It's very, very good. Again, you can get that on a Patron of Lost Causes. Accrued Redemption, probably the best legendary bow in the game now, at least in the kinetic slot, because it can roll with kinetic tremors, and with enhanced kinetic tremors, it can proc in 2 shots. So as soon as bows are back on the artifact, this thing is going to be well worth getting. It's an absolute powerhouse. The Prophet, Demolitionist Precision Instrument, this can also roll with Headstone, which I wish I would have gotten, but I didn't. But yeah, Demo in the left column is always
I have that relative.
very strong. And again, this is a rare frame that you don't see very much. Aggressive frame, high damage, high recoil, so it's like Dead Man's Tail. So these hit really, really hard. I've used them in solo Grandmasters. They're great for clearing out red bar ads. Just very, very heavy hitting. Multimax CCX. This is the roll that the Gunsmith gave. Attrition Orb's Kinetic Tremors. It can also roll Attrition Orb's Frenzy. So both of those are very, very good. I should probably upgrade this. I do have Attrition Frenzy as well. So depending on the content you're running, one might be better than the other.
It can also run with Under Over, which is really good for subjugators and the barriers. So shields. Plus it is a kinetic, so it does a little bit more damage and builds up Transcendence. But the Attrition Orbs is what Banshee sold, so it's good.
And then Imminence from Salvation's Edge Raid. So Enlightened Action and Chaos Reshaped. Chaos Reshaped is an absolutely goated perk. It's like Frenzy, but it's got a higher damage buff, but less handling and reload speed. But yeah, this perk is exceptionally strong, making a legendary SMG pretty much hit like an exotic SMG if you have Chaos Reshaped ×2 going. So this thing is very, very good.
Chaos Reshaped also grants health. So staying alive and a damage bonus. Mate, why would you not? I mean, why would you not?
So those would be the options that I would go for. I'll give some sort of, these are what I consider S tier, and then I'll give some A tier. So
look, we're 5 minutes in, and legit, all of those weapons are the best. They are the S tier meta weapons for the legendary primary slot. So far, man, Tizzle, you're all over it, Buzz. You're all over it.
We're just going to keep with the S tier, but in the energy slot. So first up is Vantage Point. Jolting Feedback to me is the best legendary trait in the entire game. Jolt can deal with overloads. In fact, it's probably the best thing to deal with overloads because the Jolt stays applied. So as long as you keep doing damage to an overload, it's not going to become unstunned. And then this season, we do have Unstoppable Pulse Rifle. So this gives it dual utility. It can stun unstops, it can stun overloads. And Jolting Feedback is just amazing. On a Pulse Rifle especially, you can just sit back and just plink away, and eventually you'll apply Jolt to enemies, and then you're dealing huge ad clear because of the Jolt. And then Eddy Current pairs amazingly with it, so I think that's the best pairing. But as long as you get Jolting Feedback, you're chilling. Sticking with Jolting Feedback, VS Pyroelectric Propellant. It is from, sorry, this I didn't say, but it's from episode Revenant. This one, oh yeah, and earlier when I talked about the weapons, I meant Heresy, not Revenant. So yeah, VS Pyroelectric Propellant, Jolting Feedback is very, very good. Like I just said, you can get Strategist over here as well to give you class ability energy, or Attrition Orbs, which makes orbs, which is obviously very, very powerful. So this auto rifle, again, absolute S tier thanks to Jolting Feedback. So speaking of very strong arc weapon perks, we have Volt Shot, which already was pretty much S tier. It's just Jolting Feedback is better in endgame content because it doesn't require a kill to activate. So this is still pretty much S, and Jolting Feedback's just S+. But yeah, Volt Shot on a bow is incredibly powerful because as soon as you get a kill, next time you knock an arrow, that's gonna proc Volt Shot, so very, very strong. Dragonfly. It's not as good as Trinity Ghoul, obviously, but this is almost like a legendary version. So you can get Dragonfly. You can also get Impulse Amplifier, which I really like because it increases reload speed, which basically just increases your DPS on a bow. So yeah, Dragonfly, Volt Shot, you can get Shoot to Loot, One for All with Dragonfly, very, very strong. So Non-Denouement, it's from Salvation's Edge Raid, very, very good weapon. Nation of Beasts, this is one that is still...
Some of these weapons that he's got are adepts, that's why he's got multiple rolls on multiple perks, is what I should say, on these weapons. Also, some of them are harder to get than others. For instance, that bow is a raid drop from the new raid, and it's an adept, so he's run it on master. Not the hardest thing in the world, but a lot of people can't really raid. But if you can get it, it's really good.
Still a little older. It's from Last Wish Raid. It's
also craftable.
You can get Dragonfly Volt Shot on it, so very, very good. Ancient Gospel just got re-released with the Garden of Salvation weapons becoming craftable. So we've got Demolitionist and Explosive Payload. It's got a ton of good perks. It's also got like Rampage Swashbuckler, Rampage Kill Clip. But yeah, this is what, in my opinion, is the best role for PvE.
With the new update coming, it can roll with destabilizing rounds. So definitely keep this around, craft it if you can, or even go farm it. It's from the Garden Raid. Destabilizing rounds is getting a big buff, and will definitely put it in line with Jolting Feedback and Incandescent.
It's got a ton of good perks. It's also got like Rampage Swashbuckler, Rampage Kill Clip. But yeah, this is what, in my opinion, is the best role for PvE. A very, very good Void Hand Cannon. And then to round out the rainbow of hand cannons, we've got Zali's Bane. This can also roll with Incandescent, which I have a crafted version of. This is the Harrowed version, so I have Explosive Payload One for All. This thing's awesome. You can see I have over 8,000 kills with it. It's extremely powerful. Nullify, again from Salvation's Edge Raid. Demolitionist, Chaos Reshaped. It can get Heal Clip and Incandescent, which a lot of people like. I do have that on a different roll. But yeah, just a very, very powerful weapon.
Very good roll on this Nullify. I recommend farming a Nullify as well. Get a raid team together and try get a Nullify. This thing will carry you through a lot of stuff, especially with that Chaos Reshaped roll. It can even run under over, as you see. My God, this dude, man, look at these rolls. Under over is also good for anti-barrier when we have anti-barrier pulse rifle shielded enemies that come into play in the GMs.
And I already talked about how good Chaos Reshaped is. Again, it makes one of these in a GM basically hit like a exotic pulse rifle, so it's very, very good. Then we have actually Parabellum. This is just a world drop. You can get Heal Clip Frenzy, which is very powerful, and I have that roll as well. Heal Clip Orbs. It just rolls
with this Parabellum. You can also get Rewind Rounds, which is a really good pairing for Peacekeeper Titans. Rewind Rounds will give you the ammo back, and Peacekeeper Titans will keep the buff up for longer. So, bit of a niche thing, bit hard to get as it's a world drop, you can't really focus it, but pretty fun.
Some really good rolls, and it's a 900 RPM SMG, which is typically pretty nice. We've got the Long Arm, Subsistence Explosive Payload. Again, I took this solo into GM and it performs very well. These high damage, high recoil, aggressive frames hit very hard, so they're probably the best scout rifle archetype in the game. And now we'll get to kind of the A tier primary weapons. So
those S tier weapons are S tier. They are the best in slots for pulses, hand cannons, and scout rifles. This is really good information.
Patron of Lost Causes, easy to get. It's just from Episode Echoes, rapid hit explosive payloads, strategist kinetic tremors, has some really good rolls. I'm throwing Percy's D in here because it's got a few things going for it. Hawkeye Breach Armaments is actually pretty good because it deals increased damage against vehicles and constructs. Plus it's got explosive payload, which is kind of like a little damage boost in and of itself. And it's got Shoot to Loot, which has really good synergy with explosive payload because it just makes it easier to hit the bricks. This is stasis, so you can get darkness transcendence energy. Breach light is actually very, very powerful. I love this pugilist swashbuckler roll.
Also really good on a punchy hunter with Liar's Handshake. You'll get the buffs from the melee kills that you'll get.
And then obviously it pairs well with a melee based build with Swashbuckler, and it hits really, really hard. I talked about Blast Furnace. If you do want to go for that, Kinetic Tremors 1 for All is really good. Sacred Providence from Garden of Salvation can also roll with pretty similar. I think it can roll with Kinetic Tremors and Rapid Hit, which is nice, and I think that one feels a little better.
Kinetic Tremors and 1 for All is really good on a Blast Furnace, but you really need the other perks as well. You need to land the magazine and the barrels. It feels really sluggish and the reload speed is not the greatest. It's sitting at 46. He does have Alloy Mag, but you really needed Flared and Fluted or Arrowhead for the recoil.
Salvation can also roll with pretty similar. I think it can roll with Kinetic Tremors and Rapid Hit, which is nice, and I think that one feels a little better. Very low handling at 29, so I just don't love the feel of Blast Furnace, but it is very strong. And then Chroma Rush, Subsistence Frenzy is very, very good. Splicer Surge is a pretty good origin trait as well. And it can also roll with Kinetic Tremors. It has some pretty good rolls. It's a 720, so it fires fast. Overall, a pretty good auto rifle. Rosarago, Rewind Rounds Onslaught. This goes really, really hard. It's very good. I didn't mention it, but that VS Pyroelectric Propellant also rolls Onslaught. Onslaught is great on auto rifles, especially with rewind rounds. This is just a world drop. It's very good. Elsie's Rifle from OG Onslaught. Under over, so deals bonus damage to overshields, which is really nice for anti-barrier pulse rifle.
Also, this is the S tier pulse rifle for PvP. If you can farm one of these with a PvE and a PvP roll, goated.
And then you've got something like Frenzy. You've got the classic Repulsor Brace destabilizing rounds. So yeah, Noxious Vetiver. I don't really like this gun that much. It's a 600 RPM, and I don't think these feel very good in PvE. But again, Jolting Feedback doesn't care. If it has Jolting Feedback, it's one of the best perks in the game. So it makes the list. So
it truly is S tier. That Jolting Feedback truly is an S tier perk. With these Revenant weapons, notice that you needed to get the barrel and the mag. It needed to be a 5 out of 5. If you missed out on just one thing, it was crap.
Jolting Feedback, it's one of the best perks in the game, so it makes the list, so well worth getting. Corrasion, before we got Vantage Point with Jolting Feedback, this was probably the best arc pulse rifle because it had Volt Shot. So now Vantage Point is just straight up better, but this is a nice consolation prize. Again, it's that heavy burst, so they are a little better at range. And then Enlightened Action Volt Shot just pairs really nicely together. Zali's Bane I talked about. There's that explosive payload incandescent roll. Insurmountable, Demolitionist, and Desperate Measures. Very good combination, very strong. Subjunctive, again, Shoot to Loot I really like. And then Volt Shot is always powerful. So just has really good rolls. This can also roll with like Heal Clip, Kill Clip. This Heliocentric gets all kinds of good perk rolls. It can roll with Incandescent. Demo Frenzy is the roll I like. I have over 1100 kills with it. Very good. And then Time Worn Wayfarer. This again is that 2-round burst. Can roll Heal Clip, Incandescent. I think it's got some other good rolls on it. But yeah, just a very good and powerful scout rifle. So that is going to do it.
It's not a 2-round burst. Just saying.
For the best legendary primaries in Destiny 2.
On to the final thoughts. I have to say, Itstizzle, you gave it the title of the best legendary primaries in Destiny 2. And boy, we got the best legendary primaries in Destiny 2. Now that deserves a 10 out of 10, I think. I'll link his video and channel down below. You have been weighed, you have been measured, and you have been found wanting. Welcome to the new world. Hit that like and subscribe to see who's up to bat next.